disabled gamers, and no, I'm not talking about League of Legends players. There's a plethora of accessibility issues of games nowadays, and it's a very complex area as there are so many possible disabilities that we need to cater for. In the past couple of years, game developers have made big advancements such as color blindness options, dyslexic fonts, and my personal favorite, one-handed mode. I recently took part in the Game 7 Game Jam, and the theme was mouse only. Sure, I could have made an on-rails shooter like Time Crisis, but I like pain and suffering, so I chose to make a fully fledged arena shooter with a movement system. Introducing G-Arena, aka Geometry Arena, aka I can't 3D model so I used shapes. Now, a mouse and 2 buttons is not a lot of input options, so I had to make some minor compromises. You can't aim vertically as that makes a game significantly harder to control, and the goal here is to make a game that still manages to be fun despite the limitations. Here's a basic rundown of the control scheme. Move your mouse forward and backwards to walk, side to turn, press left click to shoot, and hold down right click to strafe in whichever direction your mouse is moving in. For enemies, I decided on 4 different enemies. I really wanted to incorporate the intricacies of the control scheme as much as possible when it comes to the combat, which meant designing the enemies in a way that made sense. The first is a generic enemy. It moves towards a player at a moderate speed and has a moderate amount of health. This means being able to move backwards while shooting, which turned out to be much harder with a brand new control scheme. The second is a variant on the first enemy, this time much bigger, much tankier, and much slower. This introduces a factor of managing the limited space in the arena well by skillfully maneuvering. The third enemy is a shielder, meaning that you can only damage it from behind. It's just about impossible to land any shots on their weak spots without utilizing the strafing mechanic. The last enemy plays on the player's lack of verticality by hiding in the ground intermittently. This requires a player to work around that limitation with good timing. To give the player incentive to move around instead of sitting in one spot, enemies drop these stars, which increase your score multipliers. I also added different weapon types, but players tend to find one they like and they'll sit on it as long as possible. To counteract this, weapon pickups give you a random weapon each time while also increasing your damage multiplier. That way, the player needs to constantly pick up random weapons, otherwise the enemies will outscale them. While playtesting, I noticed myself constantly walking backwards into enemies. So I borrowed a bit from the design book of Devil Daggers and added a 3D humming noise to the enemies. Before you head over to the comments to fight me, I know that using audio as a core mechanic contradicts the whole accessibility goal, but keep in mind that this was meant to be an experiment to cater for single-handed control schemes in a more complex game. If you'd like to play the game yourself, the itch page is in the description. We also have a cozy community on Discord where you can share what you're working on and chat to like-minded people. And remember kids, subscribing is free and Epstein didn't kill himself. Okay, thanks, bye.